Hello everybody, this is video number 2 in the setting up cages for chameleons videos. Last week or a couple weeks ago I did a video on a cage I set up for a Jackson chameleon, a female Jackson chameleon, and I went over a few things. I'll go over a few things with this one, and then the last one I'll do is the veiled chameleon that we have, and I'll show you how I set that up. I also got some questions about the fishing videos, so if you're on the channel, I've got some new subscribers for fishing videos and things like that. I'm going to, well, fall fishing season has started, so I've been out scoping it out right now. It looks like the season's gonna be good, so I should start posting salmon videos soon, and then after that steelhead videos, and then today I'm gonna do a video on tying knots with spider wire. Okay, that can be a challenge sometimes, so I'll do that. So back to the chameleon cage. This is the chameleon cage that we have for our Panther Chameleon. So they get pretty big. He's just a baby right now, but they do get big, and I want to make sure he's got a lot of space. So that's a 24 by 24 by 48 inch cage. So that's a fairly big cage, and you're not going to need anything bigger than that really for just about any chameleon. The bigger the better, but this will accommodate them pretty well. So a couple things here. So it's just a basic cage, and then this is some foam. All right, that is landscaping foam, pond landscaping foam. You can get that at some pet shops, landscape supply shops, especially if they do ponds. Make sure it's fish safe, and if it's fish safe, it's reptile safe, and it's super easy to work with. All right, you can see I've got some sticks in here. So you just spray some on there. Get a couple cans. You can get it online if you can't find it at Home Depot or whatever. But you spray it on there. You can put your sticks in there. You know, do some planning ahead of time. But it holds things in it once it dries. So I set this cage on its side. I just sprayed a line of it down the side of the cage, and I stuck this stick in it. And I put a little thing down here. And these sticks I put in afterwards, after it dried, it cured. So I just stuck them in there. You can put them anywhere you want. So it's great stuff. It looks like rocks. It holds water, so reptiles can get up there and drink out of the water. So and I've got some different log features and different size sticks in here, and some more of that vine that you can get. That's imitation vine. You can get that at any pet shop. It's good stuff. It really helps you put a route through your sticks that your chameleons can follow, okay? Because they need to be able to climb around in there easily, and sometimes they can't get from one stick to the other unless you've got some of this vine in there. It helps them do that, okay? That is an umbrella plant. It's a great plant for terrariums. It grows real tall in there. And then this terrarium has the spray nozzle, okay? So I installed that myself, and that's optional. But it's on a timer, and it's hooked up to the other terrarium, so 3 or 4 times a day the timer goes off and sprays water in there. You don't need that. As I said in the other video, you can just use a spray bottle and spray it a couple times a day, but you need to make sure your chameleons are getting water, and they don't generally drink out of a container, okay? But they will drink out of a dripping hose. I'll do some videos on how I do that. It's real easy and it's fun, so I'll show you my chameleons drinking and how they do that. But to make sure they're always got some water available, I have the misters, okay? And they go off, and they do a great job to keep the plants misted, to keep some moisture in there. It keeps the humidity up too, which is something you want to do, okay? So all that stuff, it sounds complicated, but it's not, okay? If I keep these in a room that's about 82 degrees, and then the heat lights above provide the layered heat that you need, and then some water in there, spraying it gives you your humidity, okay? So, and I don't really track that stuff too much. I kind of know what it is. I got the humidity meter, and I got my thermometer, and I check things once in a while, but I've never had to make any changes. So it's not that complicated. Just make sure you got a room temperature of about 82 degrees, and you go from there. Your heat lights are going to do the rest. And then, spray water for humidity. If you need extra humidity, just put a glass container filled with water in the bottom of your cage with a screen on top, and that will evaporate humidity into your cage, okay? All right, so I got some fake plants in there too. I stuck those in on the sides, and then I just got driftwood. I went and collected this driftwood from the beach, okay? Or you might find it in the forest. Riverbeds are great places for driftwood for terrariums because the water in rivers really do work the wood good. So don't be worried about bringing wood from the outside into your terrariums. People have mentioned to me, oh, isn't that dangerous? No, it's not, okay? This driftwood was on the beach. It was sun-dried. I washed it. It's totally safe, okay? You do want to make sure there's no like mites in it or things like that, but if it's driftwood on the beach, it's not going to have anything like that, okay? You might check it more carefully if you get it from a river, but if there's no broken cricks or crannies or in it, it's good to use, okay? You don't need to go and buy that expensive stuff. Just get driftwood on the beach. So here's my ficus plant that's been doing really well under the lights. It even grows out the edges of this screen, so I'm going to get that in there and put this in the room, and then we'll get the Panther Chameleon in there. I'll let you see how that's all set up. So we got the Panther Chameleon cage inside. I got that ficus plant in there. That was a bit of a challenge. So that cage was set up once before, so I had to kind of wiggle that ficus in there because I liked where that wood was. So something about the cage and the wood. So you can see there's different levels, and there are ways for the chameleons in this enclosure. Well, there's always only one, but whichever one's in here is able to climb around through the different layers, okay? So he can go up and down in here anywhere he wants, okay? Lately it's been kind of warm, so he's been down in here on this stick, okay? And that's because it's cooler down there. In the winter time, when it's cooler, the room, you know, I still keep the room at 82, but it still affects the overall heat, the temperature outside. I don't know why, but anyway, he'll get higher up in here, and he'll get, sometimes when he wants to warm up, especially in the morning, he'll get right under the light. And speaking of the lights, so you need a heat source, okay, and this is my heat source here, and I'll put that up there. Now for the heat source, I recommend that you do not, that you do not buy the these Repti basking spot lamps from ZooMed, okay? Do not buy those heat lamps. I'm sick of them. They burn out over and over and over, okay? And you bump them and they burn out, and they're crap, okay? Don't buy them. So what I buy are, now I buy floodlights, okay? You go to Home Depot, you buy floodlights, 100 watts, man, and that's your heat, okay? Heat is heat. And if you have a, well, actually that's probably a 75 watt. You know, be careful, you don't want to put too much heat in there, okay? So, and you get your temperature, you find out they need about 90 degrees or above on a basking area. I'll have this light over here, right? So he'll be able to get in different areas to bask under it, whatever he needs, okay? So that's my heat lamp, and those don't burn out. And they're half the price. They're less than half the price, okay? And so that's my big suggestion. All right, now one thing you do need to have in addition to that is a UV light, okay? To provide some UV rays. So this is a fish tank light that has a UV light in it for fish. It's not actually for fish, but I put that UV light in there for this terrarium, and that provides the UV light for the reptile, okay? So that's not complicated. You need a heat source and a source of UV light, okay? And that will keep, the UV light will help your plants grow, okay? And they'll keep your reptiles healthy, all right? So there's my UV light. You know, it's a lot like sunlight, okay? So, you know, dim sunlight. So, and you can see the light has been burning that banana plant, so I need to do something about that as far as the positioning of it, okay? And I will. All right. So that is the basic setup for the Panther Chameleon. So it's a big cage, and that's the important thing. I've got lots of sticks in there. That ficus plant is a really good choice for terrariums like this because they grow and spread out, and they do well in that environment. And then down here they've got good sturdy branches and things for the chameleon to crawl on. Okay, so that's that. So next door is where we keep the veiled chameleon. Usually I put the Panther Chameleon in there while I cleaned his cage, and there is the veiled chameleon. His name is Pascal. So he's up there, he's climbing on top of this guy's cage. Alright, he wants to come out. I'll put him in his newly cleaned cage. Come here. So his name's Bagheera, and he's about probably 7-8 months old now. So he's still a young lizard, but he's very tame, and I'm going to do some videos on taming them, okay? And they make great pets. He's got such a great personality. So his name's Bagheera. Now Pascal, you can see the colors he's got up there now. Those are his colors that, because he sees this chameleon, so he's getting puffed up and he's flaring his colors, okay? All right, so he does that a lot whenever he sees this guy. Now that's why I have this screen in here between the two cages, so they're not always at odds with each other. But he definitely remembers that the Panther Chameleon's on the other side, because when he gets out, he just goes up there and he peers down on the Panther Chameleon and harasses him. So as you can see, he's up there right now, and that's what he loves to do. He loves to go out there and harass that chameleon. So you don't want them to get together, because they will fight, and you know, Bagheera's just a juvenile now, so he's a bit upset. He's been moved around and he's being intimidated right now. So all right, so that's the basic setup for the cage. The veiled chameleon's enclosure, it's exactly the same really, except as far as what you can do with it. I didn't put the foam landscape in here, but I probably will at some point. And I don't know if you're wondering why they're all screen cages, but chameleons need to have a lot of airflow, okay? And so you can't put them in glass cages like we've got this bearded dragon in, okay? And even him, he's got good ventilation up there. But these guys, they need to have airflow, all right? And if you put them into and also they don't know what glass is. They just kind of try to get through glass all the time. So the screen cages is what you want for basically any type of chameleon. And in the veiled chameleon's cage, he's got the same thing. He's got an umbrella plant, and he's got a ficus plant back there, and some fake plants, some of the vine, okay, the fake vine, and the UV light, and also the heat source. Okay, so that's the cage setup. So I'm not going to do a third video about the veiled chameleon's cage, because basically all of these cage setups can be done exactly the same for any species of chameleon. All right, so don't overcomplicate it. If you want to get chameleons for pets, do it. It's not that difficult. All right, so I'm trying to put these videos out for you. If you have questions about it, write them in the comments and I'll respond back. You remember the first video was this one here, where we set up this cage for the Jackson chameleon in there.